explicit the soul aim is to upgrade the health and beautify the wealth. The same might happen to genetic engineering. If a billionaire openly stated he intends to engineer super smart offspring, imagine the public outcry. But it won't happen like that. You are more likely to slide down the slippery slope. It began with parents whose genetic profile put their children at high risk of deadly genetic disease, so they perform in vitro fertilization and test the DNA of the fertilized egg. And everything is in order as well as good. But if the DNA test discovery is dreaded mutations, the embryo is destroyed. Yet, why take a chance to fertilizing just one egg? Better fertilizing several, so that even if 3 or 4 are defective, there is at least one good embryo. When this in vitro selection procedure becomes acceptable and cheap enough, its usage may spread. Mutations are ubiquitous risk. All people carry in their DNA some harmful mutation and less than optimal alleles. Sexual reproduction is a lottery. A famous and probably apocryphal anecdote tells the marriage in 1923 between Nobel Prize laureate Adolphe Franz and the beautiful and talented dancer Isadora Duncan. Discussing the then popular engineering movement, Duncan said, "Just imagine a child with my beauty and your brain." Franz responded, "Yes, but imagine a child with my beauty and your brain." Well then, why not rig the lottery, fertilize several eggs, and choose the one is the best combination? Once stem cell research enables us to create a unlimited supply of human embryos on the chip, you can select your optimal baby from among hundreds of candidates, all carrying your DNA, all perfectly natural and none requiring any futuristic genetic engineering. Iterate this procedure for a few generations, and you could easily end up with superhuman or a creepy dystopia. But if you find after fertilizing even numerous eggs and you find that all of them contain some deadly mutation, should you destroy all the embryos? Instead of doing that, why not replace the problematic genes? A breakthrough can involve mitochondria DNA. Mitochondria is tiny organelles within human cell. With the precious energy used by the cell, they have their own set of genes, which is completely separate from the DNA in the cell nucleus. Defective mitochondrial DNA leads to various debilitating or even deadly disease. It's technically feasible with current in vitro technology to overcome mitochondrial genetic disease by creating a 3-parent baby. The baby nuclear DNA comes from 2 parents, while the mitochondrial DNA comes from a 3rd person. In 2000, Sharon Sharinen from West Bloomfield, Michigan, gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Alan's nuclear DNA came from her mother, Sharon, and her father, Paul. But her mitochondrial DNA came from another woman. From a fully technical perspective, Alan has 3 biological parents. A year later, in 2001, the US government banned this treatment due to safety and ethical concerns. However, on 3rd February 2015, the British Parliament voted in favor of the so-called three-parent embryo law, allowing this treatment and related research in the UK. At present, it's technically unfeasible and illegal to replace nuclear DNA, but if and when the nucleic and technical difficulties are solved, the same logic that favored the replacement of defective mitochondrial DNA would seem to warrant doing the same with nuclear DNA. Following selection and replacement, the new potential step is amendment. Once it becomes possible to amend deadly genes, why go through the hassle in inserting some foreign DNA when you just rewrite the code and turn a dangerous mutant gene into its benign version? Then you might start using the same mechanism to fix not just lethal genes, but also those responsible for less deadly illness, for autism, for stupidity, and for obesity. Who would like this? Who would like he or her child to suffer from any of these? Suppose your genetic test indicates then you would be total, will in all likelihood be smart, beautiful, and kind, but will suffer from chronic depression. Wouldn't you want to save her from years of misery by your quick and painless intervention in the test tube? And while you are at it, why not give the child a little push? Life is hard and challenging even for healthy people, so it would surely come in handy if the little girl had a stronger than normal immune system, an above average memory, or a particularly sunny disposition. And even if you don't want that for your child, what if the neighbors are doing it for theirs? Would you have your child lag behind? And if the government forbids all citizens from engineering their babies, what if the North Korean is doing it and producing amazing genius, artists, and athletes that far outperform ours? And like that, in baby steps, you are on our way to a genetic child catalog. Healing is the initial justification for every upgrade. Find some professor experimenting in genetic engineering or brain-computer interviews and ask them why they are engaged in such research. In all likelihood, they would reply that they are doing it in cure disease. With the help of the genetic engineering, they would explain we could defeat cancer, and if we could connect brain and computer directly, we could cure schizophrenia. Maybe, but it will surely not end there. When you successfully connect brain and computer, will we use this technology only to cure schizophrenia? If anybody really believes this, then they may know a great deal about brain and computers, but far less about the human psyche and human society. Once you achieve momentous breakthrough, you cannot restrict its use to healing and completely forbid using it for upgrading. Of course, humans can and do limit their use of new technology. Thus, the eugenics movement fell from favor after the Second World War, and through trade in human organ is now both possible and potentially very lucrative. It has so far remained peripheral activity. Designer babies may one day become as technology feasible as mothering people to harvest their organ, just remain as peripheral. Just as we have escaped the clutches of the Chekhov laws in warfare, you can also escape them in other fields in action. Some guns appear on stage without ever being fired. This is why it's so vital to think about humanity's new agenda. Precisely because we have some choice regarding the use of the new technology. you had better understand what is happening and make up our mind about it before it make up our mind for us.